Hey, I'm John David Lenard.
And I'm Danielle Lenard. Welcome to Lenard Team Connections.
We're so glad that you're taking the time out of your day to check in with us as we check in on the great things happening in our community. Today, I am extremely excited to be sitting down with one of our good friends, Mitch Robinson.
First, let's get started with some good news. Graduation is particularly special for this Florida teen. Throughout his life, Martin Folsom struggled with homelessness. This week, he graduated top of his class at A. Philip Randolph Career Academy and will be attending Valdosta State University in Georgia.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Philip. All right, we've got one more story. Oh, nope. No, we don't. We've got another story, and this one is just adorable. 7-year-old Curtis Rogers from North Carolina found out that his babysitter, 17-year-old Rachel Chapman, had her senior prom canceled.
Oh my God,
Curtis,
he's so
I know, right? Curtis quickly put together a socially distanced mini prom for Rachel, including a formal promposal, a coordinated suit to match Rachel's dress, and catering from Chick-fil-A. A toast of juice to his rock star babysitter, and of course, dancing from 6 feet away.
That is just the cutest. I love it.
Curtis, hat off to you.
Now, this one is a bit of a throwback. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this, like the drive-in theaters. How brilliant, because they're becoming all the rage again. And the Nassau Coliseum is the latest venue to announce that it's creating a drive-in movie experience for this summer. Pietro's is also hosting drive-in movies, including The Wizard of Oz tonight. Tickets are $100 per car, and that includes a $100 voucher for food, drinks, and snacks. Plus, there's a costume contest to go along with each showing. So it's really fun for all ages.
Yeah, before we continue, I just want to say I've been to Pietro's. I love their food. We have so much fun there. Nassau Coliseum, I mean, that's got to be a huge event. But right in our backyard here, not far from where I'm sitting right now, I know a lot of people from the St. James community that I've been talking to have been going to the mall in Lake Grove, Smith Haven, and they're doing it as well. It's so much fun for the kids and families, and I can't wait to do it myself. In the meantime, Pietro, I love how he's thinking outside the box, and I wish him all the best.
So if you have a good news story from around the island or the country, share it in the comments below, and we'd love to feature it in an upcoming episode.
That brings us to our guest. Mitch Robinson is here. In full disclosure, he's filling in last minute. So an extra thank you for doing this for us. Mitch always said, hey, if you ever need somebody, give me a call. But we love it, and so excited to have you, because no matter what, I know from experience of knowing you can do this at a drop of a hat. So so everybody watching, I've known Mitch a long time, but our audience, they have it. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks guys for having me. First of all, it's great to be with you all. I've had a kind of a fantastic career with some companies that, back then we never knew if we're going to be successful or not. I was a really early employee at Expedia, where a lot of people book travel at a time when people were like, do people really want to book travel on a computer? Like, especially when you didn't have high-speed internet, right?
I remember that.
So that's how far back I was there. And then I later joined another company that many people around your area use, Zillow, right? And got to work with fantastic real estate agents like the two of you, as well as millions of consumers. They were trying to get more information about homes to try and make their dreams come true. And then most recently, I was with a huge national real estate brokerage, And now I'm a consultant and semi-retired. So when you said pinch hit, I was like, yes, I'm ready. I'm here.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's quite the resume too.
It does. Well, yes. And there's a lot to actually add there, because, you know, you kind of gloss over the fact that, like, yeah, I worked for this little company, Expedia, another little company, Zillow. But I mean, you're pretty up there in both companies, as well as another company that you were recently at, EXP, which for people that don't know about real estate, that's a pretty big and growing national brokerage. But along the way, I mean, I've gotten to know you really well, and know that you know, you're very accomplished in what you do. But the reason you're here today is to tell us. We wanted to revisit the idea of working from home, because this is actually something that you've been dealing with since way before there was this notion of a pandemic. Yeah,
you know, I made the adjustment 3 years ago when the company I was most recently at said, yeah, we don't have offices. Everybody from the CEO on down works from home. And I had always thought that in my world, places like Expedia and Zillow, I thought one of the biggest things I had was like managing by walking around, that I could just throw my pixie dust on people and they would all be better employees and we'd all work together. And then when suddenly I was working from home and trying to get my own things done as well as manage others, I was like, wow, I may have lost my magic touch. Can I still do it remotely? And tied to that, I had this horrible experience early in my career working from home.
So can you tell us a little bit about, are you okay sharing?
It's a horrible story, but that I still think I need therapy from, but it tells you how far I've come, that I enjoy working from home now. I was a young executive at Expedia, and I used to have about easily an hour and a half commute each way into the office. So when I got to work from home, I really enjoyed it. But one day I was on a call. You know, there was no video at the time. It was just like a teleconference kind of call. And I wasn't really that important to the call, but I had to be on it. And so as I'm listening, I think I was just holding probably an early version of a cell phone. I decided to lay on my couch during the call. And I think it was probably a landline. There was no mute button. And about 3/4 of the way through the call, I hear the executive say, "Is somebody snoring?"
I knew that's where this was headed.
And that was me. Very proud moment. I have never admitted to that until now. So if any of my
oh my God
at Expedia are watching, yes, I was the one snoring on that very important call.
Oh, so nobody ever knew it was actually you?
No, I did. I was just like, they said, "Who's snoring?" And I like came to life, and I was like, "Yeah, that's horrible. What's going on?"
Yeah, who's doing that? That's terrible. You should be ashamed of yourself.
So that was an early lesson in working from home, and things have obviously.
Yeah, don't lay on the couch.
Yeah, don't lay on the couch is tip number one.
That's so funny. So, you know, you really did. So for many of us, we've been at this for 3 months. We have heard some stories of people walking, you know, behind people, you know, accidentally.
Sure.
But are there any like really good tips that you can say for people now?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of things in terms of kind of you personally working from home, and then how to kind of engage your family or significant others that also are home. Because one way to think about it is those people, let's say, you know, you have a partner, spouse, kids, whatever, they've always been around the home. And now you're suddenly there. And they're used to kind of living their life. And now, depending on where you are and the setup of your home, like you're the one that's new, not them. And there's a number of things you have to think about in terms of kind of keeping them happy, as well as, you know, getting your work done.
Do you know, one of the things too that I'm hearing a lot of people say, and I feel the same way, is people are actually working harder and more and having a harder time maybe having that shut off where your spouse might think, what else, you know, hello, you're home.
Yeah, and that's hard. Like people, when I first started working from home about 3 years ago, my family generally was like, well, you're not really working, you're home, right? And especially my kids who were like high school age, they're like, oh, I don't know what dad's job is now. He's just around here all the time. And they were, kind of like bugging me like they do on the weekend, bugging me with love, but they were like, oh, dad's not serious. So one of my big tips that I've learned over the years is I learned that if I dressed like this, not only would it cause me maybe to pick up my game a little bit, but would also have my family go, oh, he's really working today. Because if I just come downstairs with like a ball cap on and I haven't shaved in a week and I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops, I look like I do on the weekend to everybody. And so I've kind of learned, I don't necessarily have to wear a sport coat every day, but if I kind of walk the walk, then they're like, oh, he's really serious. He does have a job to do.
That's great advice. Really great advice. And actually, I want to take a moment. If you are watching currently, Mitch talk about tactics he's used and strategies for working from home. Please, we'd love to hear from you. Be a part of the show. But so anyway, in the meantime, so how do you communicate with your family when it is work time?
Well, one thing was kind of getting us all, first of all, used to a schedule. Okay. And like we've locked down a schedule in my family, so they generally know what time I go downstairs. I'm very fortunate. I have an office here in the basement, and there's really no reason for anybody to come down here unless they just wanted to come hang out here. So I have a space, but it all kind of starts with them knowing kind of what time I start. And if I'm down here, I'm probably working, right? So that's one thing. It's also understanding that there are benefits from working from home for my family and myself that we should take advantage of. So, now we have lunch together every day. Like I carve out some time, and I'm like, if I'm going to work from home, one of the benefits should be that I get to engage with my family. So they know at lunchtime, we're going to eat lunch together.
That's a really good idea.
Another kind of connected tip is I save a lot of time by working from home. I used to have a commute from an hour to an hour and a half, right, each way.
That's a huge amount of time.
I kind of decided, though, that I would kind of split that time between maybe working a little harder some days, but also giving some of that time back to my family. So every morning now, I go with my wife and we walk the dog at 7:30 in the morning. Sometimes they're gone like 45 minutes. And I never was around for that part. I'd be on the train at like 6 a.m.
What about using some of that time for some self-care as well, right? Because we like, let's acknowledge that everybody needs to rest, recharge as well. So we're, like Danielle was saying, it's work-life balance. We have to be proactive in protecting our own psyche, right?
Well, and let me just tell you, I used to get up at before 5 a.m. and I'd be in downtown by like 7:30 or whatever. Now I can sleep into like 6:30 and like my blood pressure is better, my blood sugar is better. I think I'm a happier person. So there's certainly benefits. I used to kind of be a road warrior and think, well, I'll just sleep like 5.5 hours and then be ready to kind of kill it the next day. And now I'm actually taking time for myself, and working from home, has allowed for that.
Yeah, because there is so much research now on how it's so important to get 7-8 hours sleep, that a lot of health issues come from lack of sleep.
Yep, for sure.
So I keep thinking about the people out there, especially friends of mine who do commute to the city. I mean, it could be 3.5 hours, even 4 hours round trip, depending on where they're going in the city, that they've now gotten back. But I also think that there's a lot of questions out there. Is this going to be the new normal? Will they be going back to? And so I think the reason we wanted to revisit this now with you is the idea of working from home is that you can have a fulfilling work life and family life if this does become the new normal.
Right. It's all about, just like anything, it's about understanding each other and understanding what the drivers are. for me, when I'm in the basement, I'm really working, and to have my family understand that was super important to me. For my family, on the other hand, what's super important to them is you're around more, and how can you help out, for instance. So I've found ways to do that as well. It's like you can't just pretend you're at an office in the city when you're working from home, because you're not, right? Your family is going to see you. You have different working conditions. Many people have a house where it's like an open floor plan, right? They never anticipated working in.
Yeah, open floor plans are great until coronavirus, and then everybody needs a place to do their schoolwork and their work.
Right. Like just before I was going to say, before I came on with you, we have somebody working on our house right now. And I was like, can you please not vacuum during this 45 minutes, because you're right above my head.
But you know what? You said how you can't pretend like you're at work when you are at home and getting more stuff done. Can you give any tips on how to get more done in the house, on the projects of the house, while you're still making sure you get enough done at work?
Yeah.
Make that husband happy.
I will say, when I work from home, my day is sometimes a little bit more compressed because it becomes late afternoon, and a lot of things close at 5 o'clock, for instance. And so it used to be I had this excuse, sorry, I'm not home till 6:30. Well, now I'm here. So I've actually adjusted my schedule a little bit, where some days I'll kick off early because I can go do things to help out the family. And then if I come back down to the basement after dinner and work for an hour, nobody seems to mind then, because they then have their own things to do.
Interesting. And as an extension to that, because we're talking about you and your experience, but you are at a position where not only do you answer to people above you, you have people below you, and I'm sure you've had to adjust expectations. I mean, obviously people have to produce and do their job, but how has your management style changed?
It's interesting, because I set up at the top. I used to think I had this magic pixie dust that I could use in person. And how do you do that remotely? One of the things I found is, don't just do a call with people for the sake of doing the business of the day, like a Zoom, for instance. I've tried to come up with creative things to keep my team engaged. So, for instance, I wouldn't just start a meeting if it was the first time we talked by saying, let's get started. If it was a Monday morning, I'd start by just saying, hey, what's everybody, anybody want to talk about their weekend? Let's go around the room and talk. Kind of like we would if we were all having coffee together. John David, what'd you do this weekend? Anything you want to share? Things like that. So we all talk. And sometimes I will do fun little games with the team. Like, one of my favorite games will be everybody has to randomly grab something on their desk and talk about it right now.
That's awesome.
So for instance, why does Mitch have a little teeny hand right here? What is that? Right? And it's fascinating to get the team engaged in a positive way. I want everybody to like each other and share parts of their personality. And that's a little easier to do when you're in person. So you got to keep that going over video as well.
Why does Mitch have a little tiny hand on his head?
Yeah, that's a great question. We'll save that for the next time I'm a guest.
I like that.
So what happens when you see somebody on your team and you kind of perceive that they could be going into a rut?
Yeah, I mean, that naturally can happen. It's even more likely to happen right now because of all the added pressures all of us have. It's important when you have a team to continue to kind of do one-on-one meetings with people and talk to them and see how you can help them. I also believe, especially in these times, work-life balance, as you kind of said before, it's even more important than ever. And a lot of people maybe are working from home for the first time and they kind of forget. I actually, if I'm not careful, I can get more glued to my chair in my home office than if I was working in an office. I'd get up and I'd walk around, and here it's just me. So I have to actually make a conscientious effort to get up. And I was always trying to remind my employees, we live here in Seattle. I'm like, oh my God, it rains here every day. It is sunny today. You should go outside right now. Do you have a meeting right now? No. Go outside. There are no, emergencies in our business at this moment. Get outside, get some fresh air.
Wow, that's good advice.
It's really good advice.
While we're on, I just want to let you know Elizabeth Riley and Tiffany Callender are both saying hello. Thanks, guys, for being on today. We really appreciate you. You guys are good friends and friends of the show, so thank you.
That's great.
So, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about some really awesome stuff, but I mean, if we go tactically, do you have any advice for like how to keep a Zoom meeting going and interesting so people aren't just like,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Well, I'll tell you one,
So they're not hitting the mute and turning off the video and snoring on the couch.
And that's a concern, right? Like the one thing I said before is like, make everybody bring something to the party. Like I've said, everybody has to bring a coffee mug to the meeting and explain why your coffee mug is important, or everybody bring their pet to the meeting, or even bring, your child for 5 minutes, like just something to liven it up. And then my new favorite thing is to bring a mystery guest. And I did this not too long ago. I'll just tell you about this one. This was super fun. I sent all my employees a box. And I said, do not open the box until we have the mystery guest. Keep it away from children and dogs and heat. And they're like, oh my God, what's in it? Like half the fun was just them having this box, I imagine, sitting next to their computer all week. And then we did the Zoom call and there was a mystery guest. So there was no name. And the mystery guest, I think they asked a few questions. The mystery guest was a cricket farmer in Iowa. And you can eat, there's a lot of food that's made with cricket now. You can have chocolate chip cookies made with cricket flour and things like that. And then they opened the box and there were 3 different things they could sample that had been made with cricket. And I had this cricket expert on that explained what these things were. Like, okay, which chocolate chip cookie has crickets and which doesn't? This energy bar that was made with crickets. And like, there's so many amazing people in the world that when you're in an office, you can't get the cricket farmer from Iowa. But on Zoom, you can.
So, all right. So full disclosure, I had no idea we were going to talk about cricket farmers and eating crickets today. Wow, that was awesome. Do you ever see, but at the same time, do you see there's got to be, I think too, I'm thinking about with our own team that there's a point of diminishing returns with Zoom too, right? Like I couldn't imagine working from home 5 years ago without Zoom. Like this would have been much more difficult, but it's also there could be too much of a good thing. Have you seen that, or have you had to balance that out too?
Zoom
or
fatigue?
Yeah. Zoom fatigue. Yeah.
I think it has to be used for the right reasons. I have a meeting today that I was getting ready for, and it's actually with some people that live in the area, and we're doing it in my backyard, and we're so excited about it. And I've practically paced off the 6 feet, like between everybody, and I've got the wipes out there and the sanitizer ready to go. And I just can't, I love my family, but I'm so excited to see other people today. I can't tell you. The other thing I'll say is another tip, like not everything has to be video. Okay, that may sound counterintuitive, and we are all going to go through phases when you work from home where you get unmotivated. You're like, oh, should I, I'm just in my house today, and maybe I'll just do laundry. And, one of the things that's really helped me with that is I've started doing this thing that used to be really popular. I've started just calling people on the phone and not telling them I'm going to call. Like this may sound revolutionary, but I don't text them. I have nothing scheduled, and I will just call people and see if they answer and catch up with them. And that has been just so great for my soul, just to talk to people and have a non-strategic, fun conversation. And anybody can do that. You can do it with your friends. You can do it with past customers or clients. Sometimes it's so great not to have an agenda with people and just to check in and talk to someone.
That's amazing advice. Thanks, Mitch.
Just call somebody. How about that?
Just call. Yeah. Not have an agenda. Yeah. No, you're right. I try to do the same. I try to be conscientious about that too. I mean, there's people on here. I'm looking at you, John Bowler. Haven't spoken to you in ages. We need to have a conversation. But yeah, people like John, like Elizabeth, like Tiffany. It's important that we stay in touch with them and stay close. So
yeah.
Cool.
My other tip that's a little more technical is, if you're going to be working from home for the foreseeable future, a lot of people started by, I'll just sit at the dining room table with a, my dining room chair or whatever. But
we're on that right now.
Right. But if you have space, like maybe it's time to buy a new chair for your office if you have a home office. Oh my God, I bought that chair 20 years ago at Office Depot. I bought the cheapest chair I could. Oh my God, it's uncomfortable. Like, treat yourself a little bit. Like I bought a microphone and a couple bigger speakers for my office, and it changed my world because I don't like putting headsets, on and off. Or, what else have I done? I bought another monitor on sale. Yeah. Like that just like changed my world. Like if I'm going to work from home as possible, I want the comforts that go along with it. And, one more thing, I've worked in offices where there were all sorts of great snacks. And then I get home and my wife has things
Zillow has like, let's be honest. If anybody has ever seen a picture of what their facility looks like, bring on the snacks.
Right. And companies like Zillow do that because they, want to keep you engaged all day and motivated. And so if you work from home, like aside from the regular things you have, maybe it's time to do like a snack run just kind of for your office. Like what kind of things will keep you engaged and motivated? Maybe it's time, not everything needs to cost a lot of money, but maybe you need to buy your own little mini $99 fridge and put it next to your desk or something, so you have, a few.
No, see, the good thing with Zillow is you have to get up and go to it. So you have to get up and go to it.
You're in bad shape when your Apple Watch says it's time to stand up. You're like, oh no, you're sitting way too long.
Yeah. Or also when it tells you it's time to meditate, that's also an issue.
Yes, without a doubt.
Yes, breathe.
Oh, Mitch, I am so glad you were able to come on today.
Yes.
We're joking about you being like a pinch hitter, but actually you're really the ace up the sleeve. So
my goal is to be a last second guest on as many shows on the internet as possible. So I hope everybody's watching this and says, now I can get Mitch Robinson too.
Well, next time you're our ace up the sleeve, I can't wait to hear about your little hand.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about this next time. It's especially good if you do it like just out of camera or like that. There you go.
I don't know that I've laughed this hard on one of our shows. So I learned a lot and laughed. What a win.
Perfect.
I hope everybody else enjoyed it as much as we apparently did.
Yes. Also, if you have any questions and you're watching this, we're live now. If you're watching it after the fact and you have questions, go ahead, post it. I'll be on. Mitch will jump on from time to time. If we didn't touch on something that you're really interested about, like if you want to figure out how to maximize your work from home lifestyle schedule, what have you, we'll be here. In the meantime, Mitch, we want to thank you for joining us on the Lenard Team Connections today. We are inspired by everything that you are doing.
Well, and thank you guys. I'm a fan of what you guys are doing. As you know, I've watched some of your shows, and I think you're providing a great service to the people in your community and beyond. So many of us are working from home right now, and sometimes we just need a few minutes to kind of hear from others and learn some things. And I think people are very appreciative to what you guys are doing.
Great. Well, I hope you appreciate your time at home with family, and I'd love to see what the future holds.
All right,
we all do.
You guys,
you can always be semi-retired. You're too valuable.
As soon as you guys can travel, come be 6 feet away from me in my backyard, and we'll hang out together.
Yeah, well, you're in Seattle, so it's from one hot zone to another. So I think that works somehow.
Yeah, well, I hope everybody continues to stay safe and look forward to seeing you guys in person at some point.
We do too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mitch. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
you being here today.
It was loved having you here today. We look forward to connecting to more awesome people like Mitch who are supporting our community, our area, our country, just supporting people. So in the meanwhile, stay healthy, enjoy the weekend, and see you next time.